and welcome to the final of Mastermind India on BBC World here in Hyderabad. To everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under heaven. A time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to pluck up that which is planted. So begins the memorably poetic meditation on the cyclical nature of time in the Bible, in Ecclesiastes. In the same vein, there is a time to reckon every week on Mastermind, a time to question and a time to answer, a time to win and a time to lose. And a final hour of reckoning. That time has now arrived as a cycle of contests comprising this year's nationwide quiz championship comes to a climax in our concluding session of Mastermind India for the season. For this year's championship, we had 3,100 aspirants from 258 towns and cities across India applying to take part in the selection test. For them, a written test was held simultaneously in 21 cities in different parts of the country, and only the top 64 qualified for the final stage. The season began remarkably for us, with the 5th series of Mastermind India being launched with a special Champion of Champions round, in which title holders of the last 4 years faced off at the awesome Baha'i Temple at Delhi. In time for the preliminaries, we moved to the quaintly Victorian Gaiety Theatre at Simla, and then to the serene environs of St. Stephen's College, Delhi, before reaching the magnificent campus of Mayor College, Ajmer, where we conducted the semi-finals of this year's contest. And now for the crowning moment. We've arrived at that spot that couldn't be more regal, the throne room or the Darbar Hall at the grand Falaknuma Palace in the 400-year-old city of Hyderabad. Styled in Italianate fashion, this opulent palazzo dominates the neighborhood, looking across the city from its perch. It was built by one of the city's richest grandees, Nawab Vicar al-Umra, who was then the Wazir of Hyderabad. In 1895, Vicar al-Umra sold the palace to his regent, Mehboob Ali Pasha, the 6th Nizam of Hyderabad, and it has since served as a royal guest house and occasional retreat for the royal family. With 22 halls and 220 rooms, the lavishly decorated interiors emulate the grand facade. The elegant lobby has a frescoed ceiling wrought by the French artist Jean Gaudier. In Persian, Falaknuma means heaven-like, and the imagery of heaven is reflected in much of the decor and detailing of the Falaknuma Palace. The palace is fitted with the choicest of gilded stained glass, 18 kinds of marble, English woods, French tapestries, and Chinese furniture. The suspended staircase is an engineering marvel, and along the walls of the impressive stairwell are superb oil paintings of the Asaf Jahi family, royal ministers, and viceroys of India. A throne room with 36 Venetian chandeliers and still-life paintings leads out towards the banquet hall. Taking pride of place in the palace is an excellent library with many rare books, including one of the oldest copies of the Holy Quran in India. Uninhabited and untouched for decades now, the Falaknuma Palace is to shortly undergo careful and elaborate restoration by the Taj Group of Hotels to return the palace to the full splendor of its former glory. Hospitality has been a tradition at the Falaknuma. It's my pleasure to welcome to our midst a multifaceted guest of honor for this event, Mahesh Bhatt, filmmaker, freethinker, activist, author, and commentator. He's one of the most prolific filmmakers of the Indian film industry, whose movies are characterized by raw emotion and a courage of candor in fashioning themes wrought out of intimate aspects of his own life. Among them are landmark films such as Arth, Saransh, and Zakham. He has authored 2 critically appraised books, is in the process of writing his memoirs, and is a featured commentator in a number of newspapers. As a man of many parts, we welcome him to Mastermind. Thank you, Mahesh Bhatt, for joining us at this event to witness the sharpshooting battle of minds, to comment and to give away this trophy to its eventual claimant. It's time now to turn to our 4 finalists, each of whom has beaten off several challengers on the way to a very well-deserved place in this final. Here's what each had to say in the hours before taking position on the firing line.
Mastermind India, I feel, combines the classicity of Test cricket along with the excitement of one-day internationals. If you look at it that way, you got to have knowledge, you got to have specialization, you got to have the ability to handle pressure as well as quick reaction. These 4 elements I don't think is there in any other quiz.
Mastermind format is it's a solo performance. you won't have to depend on other members to provide you the answer. So it's a virtuoso performance, whoever wins the tournament.
From Kirtiman Pathak, I'll become Mastermind Kirtiman Pathak, which itself means a lot. The prefix attached to me will mean a lot. Having survived 2 rounds of Inquisition, surviving another round will be a nice experience. And I think, yeah, I mean, I'll have a huge fan following, at least among the quizzing fraternity.
Most Mastermind contestants are good at their facts, but the winners usually somehow manage to keep their heads in the madness. You have to conquer your psychological demons. You have to conquer the fear of losing, your nerves, the terrible feeling in the pit of your stomach. That's what a winner is made of usually.
Those then are our 4 challengers. In contention is the coveted title of Mastermind India. Before announcing a call to arms, we'll take a very short break, only to return to begin quizzing in earnest. Do stay with us till then. Welcome back to Mastermind India and to the Falaknuma Palace here in Hyderabad, where we are conducting the finals of this year's contest. I'd like to wish all of our 4 contenders the very best of luck. May the best man win. I'd like to now call upon the first contender, please. Your name?
Kirtiman Pathak,
Occupation?
credit analyst,
What subject have you chosen as your specialized one for this final?
Argentina in World Cup football.
Kirtiman Pathak, if you're ready, we'll start your set of questions on the subject you have chosen, starting now. Meaning white stars, what is the nickname of the national football team of Argentina?
Boca Juniors. LB Celeste.
I'll accept that. Past which German goalkeeper did George Burushaga score the winning goal to help Argentina lift the World Cup in 1986?
Schumacher.
Correct. In which stadium did Diego Maradona score the infamous Hand of God goal?
Aztec Stadium, Mexico.
Correct, Azteca. Which Argentine was voted the best goalkeeper of the 1978 World Cup?
Filol.
Correct. Which goalkeeper helped Argentina qualify for the final by stopping 2 penalties in the semi-finals in Italia 1990?
Sergio Goycochea.
Correct. Which Argentine was the leading scorer with 8 goals in the first Football World Cup in 1930?
Guillermo Stabil.
Correct. Which Brazilian referee blew for time 6 minutes too soon, leading to crowd trouble in Argentina's first World Cup match?
Almeida Rego.
Correct. Which member of the 1930 Argentine side played for Italy in 1934, the only person to represent 2 different countries in the World Cup?
Louis Monti.
Correct. In 1958, against which country did Argentina make its return to the World Cup after a gap of 24 years only to lose 1-3?
West Germany.
Correct. In 1966, which player's refusal to leave after being shown a red card held up play for 10 minutes?
Antonio Ratin.
Correct. In 1966, who rushed onto the field to prevent his players from exchanging shirts with the Argentines, thundering, "We don't swap shirts with animals"?
Alf Ramsey.
Correct. Who was the only overseas-based player in the 1978 Argentine squad?
Kempes.
Correct. Meaning little witch in Spanish, what was Juan Verón nicknamed by his rivals?
Brujita.
Correct. In 1982, which team shocked the defending champions Argentina 1-0 in the tournament opener?
Belgium.
Correct. In 1986, who became the first Asian player to score a World Cup goal against Argentina?
Park Chang-sun.
Correct. Which Argentinian coach was known as El Loco or the Psycho because of his obsessive work ethics?
Cesar Luis Menotti.
No, it's Marcelo Bielsa. Which German was entrusted with shadowing Maradona in the 1986 final?
Lothar Matthäus.
Correct. Whose record of 517 minutes without conceding a goal did Claudio Caniggia end in Italia 90?
Walter Zenga.
Correct. In 1994, against which country did Gabriel Batistuta score a goal in the first minute?
Greece.
Correct. In 2002, during Argentina's match against Sweden, which referee red-carded Claudio Caniggia, although he was not even playing the match? You can take that.
Ali Mohammed Butsem from UAE.
It's correct, and that is time. At the end of the time allotted to you for your specialized subject on Argentina and World Cup football, Kirtiman Pathak, I find you've scored 19 points with no passes. Thank you very much. And now may I call upon the next contender, please. Your name?
Ramanan Janardhanan,
Occupation?
software engineer.
What's your specialized subject for this final of Mastermind India?
The Tommy and Tuppence series by Agatha Christie.
Ramanan Janardhanan, if you're ready, We'll start your set of questions on the subject you have chosen for this final, starting now. On which ship did Danvers meet Jane Finn on 7th May 1915?
Lusitania,
Correct. Where in Suffolk did Tuppence's father serve as Archdeacon?
Little Missandei,
Correct. Which general did Tuppence attend as a driver in World War I?
Francis Haviland,
Correct. What was the actual name of the intelligence chief calling himself A. Carter?
not known.
No, it's Lord Easthampton. After whose arrest did the Beresfords take over the International Detective Agency?
Theodore Blunt,
Correct. Which of Hercule Poirot's Scotland Yard friends came to Julius Hersheimer for Jane Finn's photograph?
Inspector Japp,
Correct. In which seaside resort did Mrs. Perenna run the boarding house Sans Souci?
Lee Hampton,
Correct. Whom did Tommy quote to Sheila Perenna? Patriotism is not enough. I must have no hatred in my
Edith
heart.
Cavell, Edith
Correct.
Cavell,
Which resident at Sans Souci ran an antique shop called Kate Kelly's in London?
Mrs. O'Rourke,
Correct. What did Tommy use to create a stench in his room at Sans Souci?
Asafoetida,
Correct. What nickname did Tuppence bestow on Mrs. Vandermeer at her first meeting with Albert?
Ready Rita,
Correct. What was Albert's surname?
Bat,
Correct. What pub on Glamorgan Street, Kennington, did Albert run after his marriage?
The Duck and the Dog,
Correct. Which barrister took cyanide after giving the gladiator's salute to Tommy?
James P. Edgerton,
Correct. Which old friend did Mr. Carter bring to Julius Hersheimer's supper party at the Savoy?
William Beresford,
Correct. What amount did Tuppence offer to Mrs. Vandermeer to betray Mr. Brown?
£100,000,
Correct. What name did Jane Finn give to Tommy when she was posing as a French maid?
Annette,
Correct. Which Russian agent did Julius Hersheimer kidnap from his suite at Claridge's?
Kraminin,
Correct. Which Polish refugee was Betty Sprott's birth mother?
Wanda Polonska,
Correct. How did Tommy send an SOS in Morse code to Albert when imprisoned at Smuggler's Rest?
by tapping on the cellar, by
No, by snoring. In which children's book did Mrs. Sprott hide a list of people who would assist the German invasion?
Goosey Goosey Gander,
Correct. In which age-old home did Tommy's aunt Ada Fanshawe spend her last days?
Sunny Ridge,
Correct. Who was the manager of Sunny Ridge?
Miss Packard,
Correct. Who painted the picture of Canal House that Mrs. Lancaster gave to Ada Fanshawe?
William Boscawen,
Is correct. What nickname had Julia Stark used when she was part of a criminal gang?
Killer Kate,
Correct. In which book did Alexander Parkinson leave a message about Mary Jordan's death?
Black Arrow,
Correct. What breed of dog was the Beresford's pet Hannibal?
Manchester Terrier, Manchester Terrier.
Is correct, and that is time. At the end of the time allotted to you for your specialized subject, Ramanan Janardhanan, you've scored 25 points with no passes. Thank you very much. May I now call upon the next contender, please? Your name,
Malay Chakravarti,
occupation.
civil servant,
What subject have you chosen for this final?
Fermat's last theorem, the genesis and the quest for solution.
Malay Chakrabarti, if you're ready, we'll start your set of questions on the subject you have chosen, starting now. What email message did Professor John Conway of Princeton University receive at 5:53 a.m. on June 23rd, 1993?
Fermat's problem is solved.
Can't allow it. It Wiles proves FLT. A copy of which French nobleman's translation of Diophantus's Arithmetica did Fermat possess, in which he scribbled down the famous theorem around 1637?
Pardon?
Stop the clock. A copy of which French nobleman's translation of Diophantus's Arithmetica did Fermat possess, in which he scribbled down the famous theorem around 1637? Start the clock.
Claude Gaspar Bacher.
Correct. After Fermat's death in 1665, which of his sons collected his letters and other mathematical papers and had them published?
Samuel Clement.
Correct. In the 1960s, in which book by Eric Temple Bell did the 10-year-old Andrew Wiles first encounter Fermat's last theorem?
The last problem.
Correct. In June 1993, at which institute in Cambridge did Wiles give a series of lectures where he first made public his proof?
Isaac Newton Institute.
Correct. Which of Wiles's Princeton friends first pointed out to him the flaw in his proof of 1993?
Nick Katz.
Correct. After a flaw was detected in Wiles's proof, who wrote in Scientific Journal, if a man wants to climb Everest and falls short of it by 100 yards, he has not climbed Everest?
John Coates.
No, it's Andre Vail. In which journal was Andrew Wiles's corrected proof of Fermat's last theorem published in May 1995?
Annals of Mathematics.
Correct. With whom did Andrew Wiles co-write the paper Ring Theoretic Properties of Certain Heck Algebras?
Godo Shimura.
No, it's Richard Taylor. What name did Fermat give to the method he used to prove his last theorem for the case n is equal to 4?
Method of infinite descent.
Correct. Which great German mathematician wrote to his friend Olbers in 1816, "I confess that Fermat's theorem as an isolated proposition has very little interest for me"?
Pass.
In 1742, which Swiss mathematician asked his friend Clairaut to search Fermat's house 77 years after his death to find clues of the proof?
Dirichlet.
No, it's Leonhard Euler. What name did the mathematician Sophie Germain adopt while corresponding with Gauss?
Monsieur Leblanc.
Correct. According to Sophie Germain's theorem, if a solution of Fermat's equation with n is equal to 5 existed, then all three numbers had to be divisible by what number?
13.
No, it's 5. Which friend and disciple of Gauss proved Fermat's last theorem for the case n is equal to 5 2 years before Legendre?
Pardon?
Stop the clock. Which friend and disciple of Gauss proved Fermat's last theorem for the case n is equal to 5 2 years before Legendre? Start the clock.
Dirichlet.
Is correct. What name did Kummer give the new numbers he invented that would have the property he needed to solve Fermat's problem?
Pass.
And that is time. At the end of the time allotted to you for your very challenging specialized subject, Molay Chakrabarti, you've scored 9 points with 2 passes. I'll give you the answers to those 2 questions that you've passed. The great German mathematician who wrote to his friend Olbers in 1816, "I confess that Fermat's theorem as an isolated proposition has very little interest for me," is Carl Friedrich Gauss. And the name that Kummer gave to the new numbers he invented that would have the property he needed to solve Fermat's problem was ideal numbers. Molay Chakrabarti, thank you very much. And now may I call upon our next contender, please. Your name,
Pinaki Prasad Roy,
occupation.
finance professional,
What's your subject for this final?
life and career of Ian Chappell.
Pinaki Prasad Roy, if you're ready, we'll start your set of questions which you've chosen for this final, starting now. At which premier school in Adelaide were Ian and his brothers educated?
Prince Alfred College,
Correct. At which venue did Ian and Greg Chappell become the first brothers to score a century in the same test in 1972?
Oval,
Correct. Which bowler took 16 wickets at Lord's to help Ian register his first victory as captain of Australia?
Bob Massey,
Correct. Under what title was Ian's autobiography, Chappelli, later published in the United Kingdom?
cricket in our blood,
Correct. Who is the only Indian to be dismissed by Ian in Test cricket?
pass,
What was the Australian side under Ian called on account of their sledging tactics?
ugly Australians,
Correct. During the 1973-74 series with New Zealand, which cricketer declared that he would never share the same dressing room with Ian after a mid-pitch altercation?
Glenn Turner,
Correct. For his performance in which year was Ian honoured as one of the Wisden Cricketers of the Year?
76,
Correct. Against which chairman of selectors from South Australia did he lead a players' strike in February 1976?
Don Bradman,
No, it's Phil Riding. During a benefit match for which former cricketer did Ian visit Delhi, where he invited Sunil Gavaskar to join Kerry Packer's World Series cricket?
pass,
In February 2002, for whose funeral did Ian specially fly into Bangalore to be a pallbearer?
C.K. Naidu,
No, it's Mark Mascarenhas. In 1981, which television channel suspended Ian for 3 weeks for using abusive language on air?
ABC,
No, it's Channel 9. Which program did Ian host with Mike Gibson on Channel 9 for many years?
pass,
Who retorted, as a human being, he is a non-entity, when Ian Chappell remarked of him, he was a good cricketer, nothing special?
Sunil Gavaskar,
No, it's Ian Botham. In 1977, in which hotel's bar did Ian Chappell and Botham throw punches at each other?
pass,
In 1974, at which ground in Wellington did Ian and Greg both score centuries in both innings of a test?
Wellington,
No, it's Basin Reserve, the answer I wanted. Other than Derek Underwood, which English bowler dismissed Ian 10 times in test cricket?
John Snow,
Correct. Which English county has Ian represented?
Ramsbottom,
No, it's Lancashire.
Lancashire, Ramsbottom in Lancashire,
Can't accept that. What was the title of the compilation of cricket anecdotes that Ian released in 1983 together with cartoonist Paul Rigby?
Long Hops and Larrikins,
Correct. In 1964, Ian represented South Australia and played a major part in their victory in which interstate baseball tournament?
Western Australia, Claxton Shield,
I'll accept that. And that's time. At the end of the time allotted to you for your specialized subject, Pinaki Prasad Roy, you've scored 10 points with 4 passes. I'll give you the answers to the questions that you've passed. We asked, who's the only Indian to be dismissed by Ian in Test cricket? The answer is Rusi Surti. We asked, during a benefit match, for which former cricketer did Ian visit Delhi, where he invited Sunil Gavaskar to join Kerry Packer's World Series cricket? It's Abbas Ali Beg. We asked, which program did Ian host with Mike Gibson on Channel 9 for many years? It's Wide World of Sports. And we asked, in 1977, in which hotel's bar did Ian Chappell and Botham throw punches at each other? It's the Melbourne Hilton. Those were the 4 questions you passed. Pinaki Prasad Roy, thank you very much. Well, we're through with our opening round in this final of Mastermind India. To find out how they performed in that specialized subject round, let's quickly turn to the scorecard. In 4th place with 9 points is the civil servant from Kolkata. In 3rd place with 10 points is the finance professional, also from Kolkata. In 2nd place with 19 points is the credit analyst from Mumbai. But leading the contest at this stage with a score of 25 points is the software engineer from Pune, Ramanan Janardhanan. We'll find out what eventually happens at the end of the general knowledge round, because there's 2.5 minutes of questions each in general knowledge which they have to take there, and that could make a difference on the scoreboard. Do join us for that round after a very short break. Till then, stay with us. Welcome back to the Falaknuma Palace in Hyderabad, where we're conducting the final of this year's contest of Mastermind India. We've completed our specialized subject round, and at the end of that opener, scores are fairly disparate, with quite a few points separating all 4 contenders. But then the general knowledge round has sprung a number of surprises in the past. History repeats itself. We'll soon find out. As always, we'll call upon the contenders to take the black chair in the ascending order of the scores that they notched up in the opening round. And so may I now call upon the contender who's at present in 4th place, please. Malay Chakraborty, in your opening round, your specialized subject was Fermat's last theorem, the genesis and quest for the solution. And in that difficult subject, you scored 9 points with 2 passes. If you're ready, we'll start your set of general knowledge questions now. In comic strips, how do we better know the billionaire superhero Bruce Wayne?
Richie Rich.
No, it's Batman. The name of which black coffee made under steam pressure means pressed out in Italian?
Espresso.
Correct. Which film was recently voted the top Indian film in British Film Institute's web poll for South Asian cinema?
Pather Panchali.
Correct. Which island nation is separated from Malaysia by the narrow Johor Strait?
Pass.
Which word for English letters is derived from the first 2 Greek letters?
Alpha.
No, it's alphabet. What is the first hour of every sitting of the Lok Sabha called?
Question R.
Correct. Which country's capital is Bratislava, formerly part of Czechoslovakia?
Slovak Republic.
Slovakia, I'll accept that. Which Salman Rushdie novel starts with the sentence, I was born in the city of Bombay?
Midnight's Children.
Correct. Which soft drink introduced in 1961 takes its name from a silver-haired elf-like character used to advertise Coca-Cola?
7-Up.
No, it's Sprite. Who became the youngest Prime Minister of Italy in October 1922?
Mussolini.
Correct. Spot-billed Dalmatian and Rosie are species of which migratory waterbirds found in winter in India?
Ducks.
No, it's pelican. Which state capital was known by the names of Pushpapura, Kusumpura, Azimabad, and Patliputra in the past?
Patna.
Correct. Which building in London is also called the New Palace of Westminster?
Buckingham Palace.
No, it's the British Parliament. Which Hindi film comedian's real name is Badruddin Qazi?
Johnny Walker.
I'll accept that, Johnny Walker. According to tradition, which great king of Israel founded Palmyra, the ancient city of Syria?
Solomon.
Correct. By auctioning a library for a few £100, which international art auction house did Samuel Baker found in 1744?
Christie's.
No, it's Sotheby's. In the Mahabharata, which son of Dhritarashtra fought for the Pandavas in the Battle of Kurukshetra?
Jujutsu.
Correct. What force gets its name from the Latin term meaning center seek?
Coriolis.
No, it's centripetal force. Which country has won the Men's Hockey World Cup the most number of times?
Germany.
No, it's Pakistan. And that's time. At the end of the time allotted to you for general knowledge questions, Malay Chakrabarti, your cumulative score is 19 points with 3 passes. I'll give you the answer to the one question that you passed in the general knowledge round. The island nation which is separated from Malaysia by the narrow Johor Strait is Singapore. Malay Chakrabarti, thank you very much. May I now call upon the next contender, please. Pinaki Prasad Roy, in your opening round, your specialized subject was the life and career of Ian Chappell. In that subject, you scored 10 points with 4 passes. If you're ready, we'll start your set of general knowledge questions now. Which Chief Minister of Jammu and Kashmir was earlier India's Home Minister in VP Singh's cabinet?
Mufti Muhammad Said.
Correct. The film Red Dragon features which famous fictional character also called the Cannibal?
Lecter Hannibal.
Hannibal Lecter, yes, correct. Which English county did Geoffrey Boycott represent?
Yorkshire.
Correct. Named after a mythical warrior, which is the thickest and strongest tendon in the human body?
Achilles heel.
Achilles tendon, I accept that. How is the Palestinian insurrectionary group Harkat al-Muqawama al-Islamiyah better known?
Intifada.
No, it's Hamas. Which country won the Davis Cup for the first time in 2002?
Australia.
No, it's Russia. In Hindu mythology, which god attacked Hanuman with the Vajra?
Indra.
Correct. Which city is the capital of Northern Ireland?
Dublin.
No, it's Belfast. In which vitamin are carrots particularly rich?
Vitamin B.
No, it's vitamin A. In the Battle of Trafalgar, which commander's flagship was HMS Victory?
Nelson.
Correct. Who has held the same portfolio in the Union Cabinet for the longest period in India?
Pass.
Which poem by Samuel Coleridge features the lines, "Water, water, everywhere, not a drop to drink"?
Ancient Mariner.
Correct. Which constitutional authority's first names are James Michael?
Pass. Lingdo. James Lingdo.
I'll accept that. In which Asian city was an official test match played after a gap of 30 years in 1999?
Pass.
Which medieval Venetian adventurer's travelogue is titled Il Milione, or The Million?
Columbus.
No, it's Marco Polo. Which singer was the first foreigner to win a Filmfare Award for the film Kurbani?
Nazir Hassan.
Correct. In 2002, who became the first driver in the history of Formula One to finish all races in the podium?
Schumacher. Michael Schumacher.
Correct. Which Indian classical dance form literally means dance of the enchantress?
Mohiniyattam.
Correct. Which tourist resort in the United States gets its name from the Spanish for the meadows?
Las Vegas.
Correct. Who is the Duke of Lancaster in the United Kingdom?
Prince Philip.
No, it's Queen Elizabeth II. The sloth, spectacled, and sun are all species of which land mammal?
Bear.
Correct. Which pop group did Frank Farian form by bringing in 4 West Indian vocalists working as session singers in Germany?
Pass.
And that's time. At the end of the time allotted to you for general knowledge questions, Pinaki Prasad Roy, you've scored 23 points with 7 passes. There are 3 passes in the general knowledge round. I'll give you the answers to those questions. We asked who has held the same portfolio in the Union Cabinet for the longest period of time in India. It's Rajkumari Amrit Kaur. We asked in which Asian city was an official test match played after a gap of 30 years in 1999. The answer is Dhaka. We asked which pop group did Frank Farian form by bringing in 4 West Indian vocalists working as session singers in Germany. The answer is Boney M. Pinaki Prasad Roy, thank you very much. May I now call upon the next contender, please. Kirtiman Pathak, in your opening round, your specialized subject was Argentina in World Cup football. In that subject, you scored 19 points with no passes. If you're ready, we'll start your set of general knowledge questions now. What is the name of the witch played by Shabana Azmi in a film by Vishal Bhardwaj?
Bakri.
Correct. Which nation's currency notes and postage stamps bear the name Helvetia?
Greece.
No, it's Switzerland. Meaning 3 baskets in Sanskrit, what name is given to the fundamental scriptural canon of Buddhism?
Tripitak.
Correct. In which organ of the human body are rods and cones found?
Ice.
Correct. Who was the first Roman emperor?
Julius Caesar.
No, it's Augustus or Octavius. Which Caribbean island is divided into the separate countries of Haiti and Dominican Republic?
Barbados.
No, it's Hispaniola. According to the Vishnu Puran, who is the lord of all elephants?
Ganesh.
No, it's Eravat. Who was elected General Secretary of the Communist Party of China in November 2002?
Hu Jintao.
Correct. Portrayed by Julia Roberts in a film role whose autobiography is titled, Take It From Me, Life's a Struggle, But You Can Win.
Erin Brockovich.
Correct. Which tennis champion of Czech origin has created a fictional detective called Jordan Miles?
Ivan Lendl.
No, it's Martina Navratilova in a book titled Total Zone. What title was given to the military dictators who ruled Japan almost continuously from 1192 to 1867?
Mikado.
No, it's Shogun. Which Indian journalist and former CNN correspondent is the author of Island of Blood?
Pass.
Which animal's name literally means man of the forest in the Malay language?
Orangutan.
Correct. Who was the first member of the Nehru family to become president of the Indian National Congress in 1919?
Motilal Nehru.
Correct. Which city will host the 2006 Asian Games?
Doha.
Correct. In Western classical music, what term is applied for a male singer castrated in boyhood so as to retain a soprano or alto voice?
Contralto.
No, it's castrato. Which element, second most abundant in the atmosphere, has the atomic number 8 in the periodic table?
Oxygen.
Correct. Which is the first Indian state to launch its own television channel named Mana TV?
Kerala.
No, it's Andhra Pradesh. Which unit of illumination has been taken from a Latin term meaning light?
Lumens.
No, it's lux. In the Mahabharata, Amba, Ambika, and Ambalika were the princesses of which kingdom?
Code Kingdom, basically.
No, it's Kashi. And that's time. At the end of the time allotted to you for general knowledge questions, Kirtiman Pathak, you've scored 28 points with one pass, and that one pass came in the general knowledge round. I'll give you the answer to that question. The Indian journalist and former CNN correspondent who is the author of Island of Blood is Anita Pratap. Kirtiman Pathak, thank you very much. Now may I request the fourth and final contender to take his place in the black chair, please. Ramanan Janardhanan, in your opening round, your specialized subject was the Tommy and Tuppence series by Agatha Christie. In that subject, you scored an amazing 25 points with no passes. If you're ready, we'll start your set of general knowledge questions now. Who sang the title track of the James Bond film Die Another Day?
Madonna.
Correct. What did the F stand for in President John F. Kennedy's name?
Fitzgerald.
Correct. Which former BBC correspondent wrote India in slow motion along with Gillian Wright?
Mark Tully.
Correct. What type of vehicles are sold under the brand names Eliminator, Energy, and Enticer in India?
Bajaj Kawasaki.
What
Bajaj.
type of vehicles was the question?
Motorcycles.
I accept that. Who is the only Indian bowler to take 300 wickets in both Tests and one-day internationals?
Anil Kumble.
Correct. In legend, what was the name of King Arthur's sword?
Excalibur.
Correct. Which French marine explorer invented the aqualung diving apparatus?
Jacques Cousteau.
Correct. Against whom did April Farloff fight in the first official ladies boxing bout in September 1999?
Laila Ali.
Correct. Which Bengali film star was originally called Rama Sen?
Suchitra Sen.
Correct. Which glamorous tennis star was the youngest winner of a Federation Cup match?
Elena Dokic.
No, it's Anna Kournikova. Which Dalit leader's Samadhi in Mumbai is called Chaitya Bhumi?
B.R. Ambedkar.
Correct. Cheetal and para are species of which animal?
Deer.
Correct. The name of which dish is derived from the Chinese term meaning fried flour?
Chop suey.
No, it's chow mein. Launched in 1822, which Gujarati daily is the oldest existing newspaper in Asia?
Mumbai Samachar.
Correct. Which Swedish pop group initially known as Festfolk changed its name to incorporate the initials of its four performers?
ABBA.
Correct. The national champions in which sport are awarded the Rangaswamy Cup?
Hockey.
Correct. In which Islamic island country is Divehi the most widely spoken language?
Pass.
Which country's green and yellow flag bears its national motto, Ordem e Progresso, meaning order and progress?
Brazil.
Correct. Which American novelist wrote the books The Last Don and Omerta about the mafia?
Mario Puzo.
Correct. In Roman mythology, which of Saturn's children overthrew him to become the ruler of the gods?
Pass.
In which state is the Betla National Park, one of the 9 tiger projects of India, situated?
Madhya Pradesh.
No, it's Jharkhand. Which title first used as a personal title by Mahmud of Ghazni is derived from the Arabic word for authority?
Sultan.
Correct. Which is the only Indian public sector company in Fortune's Global 500 list for 2002?
Indian Railways.
No, it's Indian Oil Corporation. Which planet has the shortest year and the longest day in the solar system?
Venus.
No, it's Mercury, and that's time. At the end of the time allotted to you for general knowledge questions, Ramanan Janardhanan, you've scored 42 points with 2 passes. I'll give you the answers to those 2 questions you passed. The Islamic island country in which Divehi is the most widely spoken language is Maldives. And in Roman mythology, the child of Saturn who overthrew him to become ruler of the gods is Jupiter. Ramanan Janardhanan, thank you very much. And now the formality of looking at the scorecard to find out the relative positions. In 4th place with 19 points is a civil servant from Kolkata. In 3rd place with 23 points is a finance professional also from Kolkata. In 2nd place with 28 points is a credit analyst from Mumbai. But the winner of this round of Mastermind India by a long shot with 42 points is a software engineer from Pune, Ramanan Janardhanan. And it's my pleasure now to request our chief guest, Mahesh Bhatt, to do the honors after I convey this trophy to him.
Thank you for this honor. Thank you for making me a part of this sensational event. And thank you for inviting me to this enchanting place. It's indeed a privilege, Ramanan, to hand over this trophy to you because I'm a college dropout. The thing that strikes me most about this game is the audacity with which you approach this game. I come from the world of movies. I know how tough it is to get in front of the camera and perform. I know what it feels when you get onto that chair and face that firing squad. Congratulations. I'm reminded of a story of John F. Kennedy. He used to tell a story of these little boys in Ireland who would throw their favorite hats across the fence just to experience the thrill of climbing that fence, the adventure of climbing the fence. And look, you have thrown your hat across the fence of life, and not only have you got your hat, but also this gorgeous trophy, Ramanan. Congratulations. Come. You're going to be a winner. Yes.
And so we come to the close of another year's championship of Mastermind India. Our congratulations once again to the runaway victor, the one who's carrying away the trophy this time, Ramanan Janardhanan, with an amazing performance, just one short of Priyamvada's score in the 3rd series Mastermind India, but a fantastic performance all the same, Ramanan. I'd also like to thank all of our other 3 contenders for having notched up some excellent performances in their qualifying rounds. I'd like to thank our guest of honor, Mahesh Bhatt, for having taken time out from his very busy schedule and joining us on this forum to give away the trophy. I'd also like to thank the Taj Group of Hotels for giving us the very rare privilege of shooting in this wonderful Darbar Hall of the Falaknuma Palace. I'd also like to thank all of the viewers for having stayed the course through the mesmeric maze of Mastermind India through these 5 years. Thank you very much indeed. Season's greetings to you all and best wishes for the new year. Till we meet again, goodbye.